What's up, people? I'm Shaggy the Opinionated Hippie, and this is part 46 of my reviewing and ranking Frank Zappa's, ranking Frank Zappa's guitar solos within the context of an album. We're now on Zappa, Erie. Finally, 24 solos. This is a fantastic release. 6 CD set, 3 complete shows, one from May 74, one from November 74, one from fall 76. Just a ridiculous release. I mean, the 274 shows are absolutely incredible. The 76 show is a really good 76 show. But as far as the solos go, I think each of the shows completely holds their own, as the list will play out. I think the first show in 74, I think is Frank maybe at his swaggy best. He's got the double drummers. He's kind of figured out how to use them as far as solos go. He's soloing his tush off, his tush off. Like some of Frank's all-time great solos are like in that one show. The fall 76 show, almost the complete opposite. Frank has the flu. It's ragged. It's jagged. It's like almost dysfunctional in a way. The guitar solos just kind of fall apart, but they fall apart in a way fall 74 solos kind of sometimes did. So it works. And I don't think it's in any way bad, but if you're not a Frank fan and you're coming to that fall 70 show for that November 74 show, this one for the first time, you're just like, whoa, these are just some really disjointed, funky solos. But yeah, that's the beauty of them. They're really disjointed, funky solos. And then 76, Frank's pretty chill for a lot of the solos, but he's very purposeful and like seems like he knows what he's doing and knows where he's going. So even though the energy doesn't always peak to these great heights, the whole feel of it just feels right. And Patrick O'Hearn in particular is just ridiculous in those solos. And then we have 2 bonus solos, an extra Montana solo from May 74 and an extra Black Napkin solo from 76. So 24 of them. Try to get through them quickly, just because 24 is a lot. All right, bottom of the list. Oh, at the end of me going through them, I will put the list on the screen, so it will be there at the end. So if you want to check that out, it will be in written form, so you don't have to remember any of these things. But let's go through them. Number 24, the Dirty Love, straight to the point, does what a Dirty Love solo is supposed to do. Again, not bad, but it's short, and it's just kind of, Dirty Love solo. Number 23, the Camarillo Brillo, at the end of show number 1. Frank's just kind of soloing at the end of Camarillo Brillo, sort of like an outro solo, feels good, lifts up the energy, kind of nice to hear. Number 22, the Hungry Freaks Daddy solo from show number 1. Again, in a way that the Dirty Love solo is there, the Hungry Freak solo is just there, it's serving its purpose, but it's really nice to hear Frank just give out short bursts of really intense guitar playing. That's always a pleasure. Number 21, Muffin Man from 76. Pretty much your standard Muffin Man solo, which are always great. I think this one has a solo. They go back into like the Muffin Man, and then there's another solo. Then Frank does the outros, like introducing the band. So it's kind of a double solo action. O'Hearn, right before they go back into the vocals, is just doing some absolutely fantastic work that lifts it up. Great solo, but it's, kind of a Muffin Man solo. Number 20 is Cosmic Debris from the first show, first song in the entire thing. Slow, patient, but has energy. It's kind of forceful, kind of goes on for a while. Has kind of a momentary buildup before kind of Frank brings it back down and heads back into the Cosmic Debris proper song. Really nice intro to a show. I think Stigfoot and Cosmic Debris in like 74 were excellent show openers, and Frank's solo allowed him to kind of just comfortably get into the vibe of the show, and that's what the Cosmic Debris solo does. Number 19 is Pound for a Brown from 76. A really chill Pound for a Brown. I don't even know what I wrote on there. Very low key. Kind of scattered energy, like Frank doesn't really know what he wants to do. It kind of slows down. Has a 74 vibe at times where it kind of falls apart, but it doesn't feel like it's ending. It's just feel like Frank's pausing mid-solo. There's a Garcia fluidness to some of this. Some of Garcia's more like, sort of kind of, I don't want to say lazy, but those more just kind of relaxed almost like a Road Jimmy, just had a chill vibe. So there's some nice Jerry energy working in the Pound for a Brown. Yeah, but interesting, just an interesting solo. It works, um, but it definitely it works in the context of a show, and there are definitely other better Pound for a Brown solos. But it's a really chill kind of scattered vibe that I kind of like. Um, Again, it's number 19, but these solos are all fantastic. Number 18 is The Son of Orange County from show number 2. And then number 17 is The More Trouble Every Day from show number 2, played back to back. These solos are much shorter than the ones that are on the first show. This is from the second show in 74. But the ideas are so good, and Frank's attack on them is so good. It's just on point. It's nasty, it's playful, it's proggy for both solos. Kind of throwing out some little different melodic ideas than he did in the first show, but just doing so just, very much more concise attack. Definitely not as drawn out and just like relaxed as the two solos from the early show, which are higher up on this list, are going to be. And again, in both points, Frank's entry into the solo is just takes the momentum of the vocals and just runs with it in the best way possible. And I think that's one of the best parts about 74 in particular, is just the solo sections felt so organic, and it wasn't like, okay, we're the solo, Frank's going to pick up his guitar. A lot of the times he's playing guitar already, and so he's just already there, and he's in the moment more so, I think, than on later tours when he wasn't, the sole guitar player. But they're both really good solos. They're just solos. They're just both way too short, but still nasty and aggressive anyways. That's 17 and 18, Son of Orange County and More Trouble Every Day. More Trouble being 17. 16 is Penguin in Bondage from show number 2. Kind of a really slow entry, which wasn't always the case for Penguin in Bondage. Kind of easing into it, and then he kind of digs in, and then by the end it just gets kind of crazy and weird and all over the place. Kind of different Penguin energy, a little more squirrely, a little more weird than Penguin typically is. But this is the Flu show, and it feels like by the Sun and the encore, which was Sun and More Trouble, Frank's energy is definitely depleted, and he's just trying to get it over with, but he's not sacrificing quality, he's just sacrificing quantity. This is one where it seems like he's battling with the flu in weird ways, and it's coming out in squirrely ways, and he's taking his time entering it, and he's like, oh, I got energy, but now I don't have energy. Interesting. It's just an interesting Penguin in Bondage. And I think I ranked it at 16 just because of its sort of not completely uniqueness, but slight uniqueness compared to other Penguins. Number 15 is the Stinkfoot from 76. Just a really straight, pure, clean, smooth. It's aggressive, but good energy. Awesome way to start the show. Stinkfoots to open shows are great because of the solo. Unfortunately, in this era, it meant a Poodle lecture would follow, but the Stinkfoot is really good. Inca Roads from show number 1. This is over that weird vamp where it's just there. That vamp is a lot more prominent. It's like just that just over and over, and Frank's soloing over that. And it seems like it's hurting the momentum of Frank's solo, and he spends a lot of time just kind of looking for sort of a motif to ride or a direction to go. He finally finds it, and then things just get weird. The energy gets really good. He kind of brings everything back up. So it takes a while to kind of develop, but when Frank finally kind of figures out what's he going to do in this solo, it kind of redeems the solo. But having it over the different vamp is interesting. It just shows, it shows why Frank abandoned it for one, but also it's something that we don't have a lot of out there, obviously. We don't have solos over this vamp, so that's neat. It does take a while, and you can see Frank's just kind of searching for ideas, but when he finally gets it, then we finally just kind of all right, we got this. This solo actually ends pretty strongly. So that's number 14, Inca Roads. Number 13, the Montana bonus track. It's just swag Frank, man. This is from May 74. It's just swag Frank. It's just Frank just doing what it is for. No, it's from May 74. Oh, where's my CD? I can't remember if it's from May 74 or if it's from November 74. I think it's May 74. But yeah, it's just swag Frank. It's just this band doing incredible stuff. Fowler absolutely sounds amazing on bass. Yeah, it's just Montanas are super, super funky, super, super tight, super, super enjoyable. But yeah, that bonus Montana is just ridiculous. And there's another one that's two more that are even better. Number 12 is The Torture Never Stops from 76. This torture really slow, really patient, really taking time to develop. Early on, there's a lot of space between Frank's notes. And those background screams, aha, aha, from like the torture soundtrack are like perfectly, like Frank is working around those perfectly, and it completely adds to sort of the sort of unsettling nature of the solo. And because it doesn't have that, what would become a predictable torture sort of start really spacey and then slowly build and build to that intensity, the solo kind of abandons that, and we start to get a build towards the end, but it doesn't really have that sort of that sort of plateau that it would eventually have. So it's just really neat vibe, really neat energy. Never really peaks as the best tortures sometimes do. But it's just a really good listen. Frank is patient. O'Hearn's bass playing, fantastic. Like every one of these. Like Bozio, we take, right, Bozio's fantastic. But I don't think Bozio's fully coming into his own now. O'Hearn is like bringing it big time and takes a lot of these solos in 76 and just lifts them to better heights. That's number 12. Number 11 is Montana from show number 2. This is your typical like low-key, all over the place, just kind of like we don't even know what's happening. Your typical fall 74. Sounds like it's going to fall apart. Then there's burst of intensity. Then Frank gets together. And then it's just one of those Montanas. Absolutely fantastic. Yeah. Strange chest. I don't even know what that says. But very playful. Just, yeah, fantastic Montana from 74. From fall 74. Number 10 is the Stinkfoot from that same show. This is the sound, like all of these solos at this point are just like upper level, right? Show opening Stinkfoot, it sounds like a man who has the flu. Frank talks about how he has the flu, talks about how he's blowing his nose on paper towels, I think, or newspapers or something horrible. He feels miserable. This solo is jagged and ragged and kind of goes into this Zoot Allures territory for a brief run in the middle, like a kind of a 75, 76 Zoot Allures kind of weird spaciness. Gets a little more melodical towards the end, a little more frenzied. It's just kind of all over the map, and it sets up a show that's all over the map. Like Frank stops the songs like 3 or 4 times in the show to berate audience members for standing and blocking other people. So there's this really halting stop-go energy to the entire show. The set list is kind of weird for 74 with a random Dynamo hum, and we get a Don't Eat the Yellow Snow, and just all these just weird little things that feel like other eras. The Stinkfoot solo sets that up perfectly. Number 9 is Wonderful Wino from 76. At the end of like the vocals, it's a weird, wonderful wino. It just feels a little like off the cuff. Frank starts it off with some guitar. It has this just really neat kind of improvised vibe about it. And Frank just starts going off at the end, almost going to like a canned heat boogie territory. It's just Frank playing. The energy is fantastic. It's a really nice treat to hear this really nice 2+ minute wonderful wino solo. O'Hearn again is on bass, so that's a plus. Yeah, it's just absolutely fantastic. Just absolutely fantastic. Some weirdness in it every once in a while. And yeah, just really kind of a nice surprise treat. And it closes out the main set of the show. And after the solo, they go off and then do encores. Just an absolutely fantastic addition. Yeah, really good. That's number 9. Number 8 is Montana from the first show. This is swag central. Like, this is just, it's aggressive. The band sounds great. Frank sounds great. It's a groove. It's a jam. It's a vibe. It's an energy. It is just absolutely, absolutely amazing. There is just, it is Montana, like everything you could ever want from a Montana solo. It's this, the one from the first show. Fantastic. Number 7 is The More Trouble Every Day from the first show, which is sort of just this very nasty, patient prog masterpiece. Kind of a nice playful groove. Frank just sounds in his element. He sounds like he's enjoying playing guitar. The vibes are incredible. It's following up what is an absolutely epic Son of Orange County. So it's kind of riding on those vibes from this like previous prog exploratory solo. Yeah, it's just absolutely, it seems absolutely amazing. I wrote that the solo seems to be its own song at one point, gets dancey and boogie near the end. It's just like, Frank is just like playing guitar and he's so comfortable. And like the fact that this is number 7 just shows you how ridiculously good all the solos on this, because I think on a lot of other releases, this could easily be number 1, as could everything else that's on this list. Fantastic release. Number 6 is the Redunzel from the second show. Frank has this really spacey tone to start off with and is trying to make something work with that, and is kind of going at it for like a minute, minute and a half. Then he just kind of stops playing. And then he starts playing again and tries to like rebuild a solo. And then things get really nasty and really aggressive and really weird. And the whole start-stop thing that Stinkfoot has continued. And the vibe still is kind of off because the solo doesn't really flow, but it works because it's 74. And Chester knows how to respond to Frank in these things. All over the map. Kind of nasty at times. A lot of really good lower end attack after he kind of picks it back up. Yeah, it's a Frank solo, warts and all type thing. And I think that's one of the things I love so much about that second show is the warts and all nature. Like, I'm not sure Frank would have released this because it's not a smooth solo, but I'm glad it's released because it sounds fantastic. Number 5 and number 4 are both Black Napkin solos. The 4 is the Black Napkins from the first show, the complete show. The second Black Napkins, number 5, is the bonus Black Napkins. The bonus Black Napkins is much shorter. It's your typical kind of start off spacey and like, a little more ethereal and then attack. And when they attack, the attack is fantastic. Again, I think I wrote bass, 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 and underlined it 9 times. O'Hearn is ridiculous. They absolutely tear it up at the end. It is, it is an absolutely full-on attack Black Napkins. It is wonderful. Whereas the one from the show is almost like this Frank had just either read a book or attended a workshop on like Zen mindset, and then this solo is whatever he learned in that workshop. Like the middle part of this solo is just the most floating, peaceful, yet Frank Zen type, just like his guitar just seems to be doing this, just going, just like painting like strokes of like whatever they paint with those big black brushes. Frank's just doing that peacefully, or he's out in like a sand garden, just like raking the sand peacefully. There is such an incredible, patient, peaceful, spacey vibe to this Black Napkins. It is just like, it's just absolutely Zen-like. All these crazy notes. It's just absolutely fantastic. The entry into it, once it's Frank's turn to actually play after other people solo, it has like elegance to it, and it just feels classy, and it just almost sounds like, not even like Frank, almost sounds like another guitar player, someone who's maybe a little more, plays these more slow building melodical type things. It almost doesn't feel like Frank. Gets super Zen-like, super peaceful, and it has intense moments, but they're just surrounded by just this absolute just comfort. I don't know how to describe it. It's an absolutely fantastic solo. The fact that it's number 4 is ridiculous. Because, wow. Number 3 is the Dupree's Paradise from the second show. Starts off with some straight up Zoot-Allures teases. Zoot-Allures had not been debuted or played yet, but these are definitely Zoot-Allures chords. Then we go into some big Swifty teases. Then we go into the dun dun bow, some any downers riffing. And then from there, we're just off into your like typical Dupree's Paradise. We got some really nice low note playing. We got exploring of ideas. We got your typical sort of fall 74 where things fall apart and then they build back up and then things get really intense. And then Frank just stops and Chester does some weird things on drum and then Frank responds. And yeah, it's your typical Dupree's Paradise fall 74 solo with a bunch of teases early on. And again, it's like Frank is just like, I'm just going to play guitar. Like, I don't, what, it doesn't even matter that it's coming out of a Dupree's Paradise. It doesn't matter where it's going. Frank's just having a good time. He doesn't even finish. We don't even go back into Dupree's Paradise at the end. Frank just stops playing. He's like, all right, don't eat the yellow snow. Let's go. And yeah, it's just one of those awesome, meandering, exploratory, fun, at times frenetic, at times peaceful Dupree's Paradise solos that Frank did so many times in 73 and 74 and always delivered. And there's another Dupree's Paradise on this list. Number 2 is The Son of Orange County off show number 1. Just an epic, epic solo. Like, I think the one that's on Roxy and Elsewhere is like, what, 3 to 4 minutes of this, and this is like twice as long, maybe even longer. I mean, this thing has everything you could want. It's slow, it's patient, it's melodic, it's proggy. Then it gets slow again, then it gets intense. This is just, the band sounds great. Like, this is really Frank in like peak form. He's comfortable. His tone is incredible. The band is incredible. The energy is incredible. Just sounds like he never, ever wants to stop. The energy from this solo carries into like sort of the closing thing and then back and then into More Trouble Every Day. Like, everything about this solo just works. It's one of Frank's all-time. It's like a perfect solo. There just happened to be more than one perfect solo from this release. And number 1 is Dupree's Paradise from the first show. This thing is just an absolute beast. I think it's like 12 minutes long. There's a little mountain jam flavor in there at one point when everything seems to be over and ending. And after we've already jammed it out for who knows how many minutes, we get a Can't Afford No Shoes jam thrown in at the end, which might be the best version of Can't Afford No Shoes ever. I'm not a big fan of that song. Didn't get played live. I think Ralphie's Shoes. What was it about Ralphie? They did a version of it with Ralphie singing in the lyrics. Ralphie Can't Afford No Shoes. That's not what it is. Now I can't remember it. Who cares? This Dupree's Paradise is just a perfect, absolutely perfect thing. Like, he tiptoes in all like carefully in the beginning. It's all like do, all coming in, like teasing you like he's going to come in, and then things get confident, and then he starts tearing into it. Then we get more intense, and then the wah-wah comes in, and then we're off into all kinds of crazy places. And I think it's like a 12-minute long solo. Yeah, I mean, we got all kinds of things coming in it. It's the epicness. It is just, like, I can think of very few guitar players that can just hold court like this and have this entire band, and then he brings the horns in, and then they jam this song that they've been rehearsing, and then, yeah, I mean, it's an absolute piece of perfection. But yeah, that's it. That's what the solos look like in written form. Color-coded, show number 1 in red. That 76 show in purple, show number 2 in black. You can see we're pretty well divided among where the solos fall. I mean, everything is fantastic. I mean, there's nothing bad. Even those ones at the very bottom, none of them are bad solos. Like, there's nothing wrong with any of these solos, people. So where does this fall among all the ones I've done so far? It's a number 1. This is my favorite release right now as far as guitar solos. It is the most recently released, or one of the more recently released of all of them, so that may be it. But I don't think I would change my mind on this. I mean, really, both Dupree's, that Son of Orange County, both those Black Napkins, the Weird Redunzel, everything on here is fantastic. But yeah, that's my thoughts. Those are my opinions on this release. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know your opinions. Let me know, I don't know, if you want to waste the time ranking all 24, let me know your top 5. Top 5 solos? How about top 5 solos from this release? Because, yeah, this is absolutely fantastic. But that's all I got. Thanks for watching. Subscribe, like, share, comment, and please go listen to this album. Go buy this album. If you're a Frank's fan and you don't have this album yet, I mean, not only are the solos fantastic, that first show is one of the best, might be the best complete show released by Frank. That second show, it's a ragged mess, but it's a glorious ragged mess. And I think that's a better 76 show maybe than the one that they did from Philly 76. Maybe, possibly. Yeah, I don't know. I may have to figure that out somehow. Anyways, that's all I got for now. Thanks. Peace. Take it easy. Bye.